Welcome to Simply Good, Cooking with Rebecca. Today I'm making biscuits. These are perfect as a side dish to fried chicken, or they'd be great for biscuits and gravy. First thing I'm going to do is melt some butter in the microwave. Okay, so I'm going to be mixing up my biscuit dough in a food processor. I'm going to start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So next I'm going to add 4 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a heavy pinch of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of salt. Okay, next I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening and 2 tablespoons of butter cut into pieces. Okay, once you have your vegetable shortening and your butter in, you're ready to just pulse this until it comes together in kind of a coarse meal texture. If you're not using a food processor, you can use a pastry cutter or even just your fingers to mix this together. In a food processor, it should just take a couple pulses to do this. Okay, so my flour and fats have come together nicely. See, they have a nice crumbly consistency. Next, we're going to add in 1 cup of chilled buttermilk. Today I didn't want to buy buttermilk just for the biscuits, so I just took a cup of milk and added 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and then let it sit for about 15 minutes. And that kind of gives you homemade buttermilk. I'm going to pour this in fairly slowly, but you don't want to over mix it at this point. Your biscuits will have more chew to them. They'll be more like bread than biscuits. You want to mix as little as possible. So you just want your dough to come together and then stop mixing. Okay, my dough has come together nicely. I'm going to turn this out onto a floured surface and then pat it out by hand. I don't want to roll it. It dirties another utensil, plus I find that you get a softer biscuit if you just pat it out by hand. So I'm going to flour my countertop. Okay, my first set are cut. I'm just going to place them on a cookie sheet with their sides just touching. And then I'm going to take the extra dough, pat it out, and continue cutting until I don't have enough to cut any more biscuits out. You want to just continue to be careful and work your dough as little as possible. Okay, when you're patting out your dough, you want your dough to be about 1 inch thick, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, so that you'll have nice high biscuits. I find that this recipe makes, generally I get 12 to 13 biscuits out of this. Okay, so now that I have my biscuits cut out, we're going to just go around and push 2 fingers or a thumb into the top. You want to make little indents. It makes your biscuits not come out domed when they bake. Okay, next step before they go in the oven is you're just going to take the butter you melted earlier and brush it on the top of the biscuits with a basting brush or a pastry brush. Okay, now these go into a 450-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Our biscuits are out of the oven. They've got a nice golden brown top from the butter. My favorite way to eat these is just plain or maybe with a little bit of butter. My husband's always hoping there's leftover so that he can have them the next morning for breakfast with some jam. Whenever you decide to eat them, they're simply good.